Hi, I'm Ash Curry. I'm a 52-year-old married man with two older children now. I was first diagnosed with OCD 17 years ago when I was 35. My OCD started when I was at the age of 6, where I used to think that I'd smash my face on the wall in the night, so I'd end up sleeping on the floor most nights. My mum was concerned, but I used to say that's the way I preferred to sleep, which is obviously what can happen with people with OCD. They tend to hide what's actually wrong with them and pretend that everything's okay. As I went into my teens, I suffered with health anxiety. Every mole was cancer, every lump was cancer I had on my face. I used to return quite repetitively to my GP, which realistically, looking back, was a great opportunity for him, who could have picked up that I was actually suffering from OCD at the time. When I went into my early 20s, I had OCD about whether I was doing the right thing marrying my wife. I used to have pathological doubts and intrusive thoughts that she might have been seeing somebody else, so it was attacking the relationship at the time. I then went on to have two children, and during the early stages of their lives, I used to have intrusive thoughts that they would be harmed by someone else. If they were out of my sight, I would fear that someone was sexually abusing them, sexually harming them. I used to have intrusive thoughts that when the wife was breastfeeding them, that she was actually getting sexual pleasure and gratification from it. OCD was attacking it from every angle. I continued to function well until I had OCD that I had thoughts that I may have harmed the children in the past. At the time they were aged 5 and 2. And however hard I tried to work out whether the thoughts were real or not, I couldn't get clarity on whether I had harmed them or not. And this can then lead on to confession like I did, which actually meant I confessed to things I hadn't done. Technically, I hadn't done them at all, but confessing is a way of finding out 100% certainty, which I never would get with OCD. I then went into a crisis point where I'd lost 2 stone in weight over the space of 3 months. I was gone from 8 hours functioning down to 1 hour a day at work. I ended up then leaving my wife and then asking to speak to a psychiatrist because I was desperate to be locked away so I couldn't harm anyone else. Once I spoke to a psychiatrist, he confirmed that I had a diagnosis of OCD, and that's what I've been suffering through my life from the age of 5 to the age of 35. Once diagnosed, I was offered cognitive behavioural therapy, which is the correct treatment for OCD. I walked away and then was determined to go and try CBT, but the OCD convinced me that if I went to see a therapist, they wouldn't believe me and lock me away. I then looked into CBT online and realised that is the way forward to get better from it, and I implemented it over 8 months, doing hierarchy systems, doing exposures. After about 8 months I'd fully recovered from OCD, and since then, over the last 17 years, I've remained OCD free. I believe that with the correct help and support from many people with OCD, life can and does get better.